everyone, and welcome back to my channel, TomKat Stitchery. I'm Whitney, and today we have another sponsored video by Skillshare. Skillshare is an online learning community where millions come together to take the next step in their creative journey. They have thousands of inspiring classes for curious and creative people on topics that include design, illustration, some fine art, videography, and embroidery. So thank you to Skillshare for sponsoring this little video for us today. Okay, so today's topic, as you all know, since going on the whole stay-at-home orders and everything else, I have been sewing up a storm. I mean, I sew up a storm normally, but especially during this really uncertain time that we've been having here recently. I've got my tablet here on my lap because I'm going to be putting up inspiration pictures here for you. So I want to make sure that I'm seeing what you're seeing. Anyway, through this, and now that we're into summer, which is kind of a slow down time, and yes, we have been slow during the stay-at-home order, but it's time. I really just want to, my closet is pretty much full, basically. You know, I've got the things in there that I need, and I really just want to take the time to really enjoy the process. Now, does this mean that I'm not going to be doing a few, you know, just projects because I want to do them? No, because sewing is my creative outlet and is the way that I stay sane. However, I thought that it might be good to highlight 3 slow sewing projects that I'm going to be taking on starting now. And I mean, these could go to the end of the year, maybe even into next year. And then I thought that this is going to be kind of holding me accountable. So I'm going to be sharing 3 projects with you that are going to be slow sewing projects for me. And then throughout the year, and as we go on every other month or so, I'll be checking in on one or multiple of those projects. So yeah, let's get started. So again, I mentioned that we are sponsored by Skillshare today, and the first class is completely Skillshare inspired. So for ages, I have been wanting to do, I mean, I've been seeing embroidery and all sorts of stuff on Pinterest, in stores, online, everywhere. And I have a real love and want to create and put something into my closet that is hand embroidered. Now, I have an embroidery machine. Very easily can I use that to do, you know, to get the same effect of a lot of these embroidered inspiration pictures. But there's just something about being just very one with creating everything by hand. I mean, I'm not going to be doing any hand sewing to actually sew these garments, although that's totally a thing. Alabama Channon School of Sewing, if you've ever looked into that, they have you do the whole process, hand embroidery, hand sewing, everything is by hand. But I do think that there's something very therapeutic, brings you back to the roots kind of about that. The other thing that I've always been very interested in embroidery, and I've definitely dabbled in it a little bit, but is the ability to basically color with yarn, with string, floss, whatever it is. And there's just something very tactile and very appealing about that for me. So the class that I took is thread painting with Danielle Clow, and it is Beginner's Guide to Embroidery, I believe is the name. I'll flash some of the intro of this video here. What I loved the most about this video is that, number one, it takes a completely different approach to embroidery than what I had typically taken. And this includes classes that I've taken online and other places as well. So she uses basically just 3 stitches. It is the back stitch, French knots, and then a couple of different variations on the satin stitch. But basically, by using just different strands of thread and different colors, she paints with the thread and creates these gorgeous works of art, which of course you are seeing on here. Definitely go follow her on Instagram. It is absolutely phenomenal what she has out there. But I just really enjoyed this very freeing form of embroidery. It's a lot less, you know, technical, and this is how you do it, and you know, that kind of thing. Although she does take you through from taking your own reference photo or your own inspiration picture and how to edit that in edit software so that you can, you know, get black and whites and stuff so you can very easily see the values that are in the picture, and then tracing that onto your fabric and then using your thread to basically paint the image. I just think that it's absolutely beautiful. Now, will my pieces be as beautiful as hers? No. Obviously, she's a paid professional artist, but I was looking through a lot of the students' projects down below, and there's just some, it's a really cool effect. And just, again, again, a lot different than anything I've ever seen before. I love that she kind of holds your hand through the whole process and just basically shows you how to paint with thread. So while you are using embroidery stitches and it is embroidery, it's just a much different freelance, even more creative than your standard stitches, I feel like. I was just very, very inspired, not only by her pieces that she made and kind of showcased in her class, but just kind of the complete sky's the limit parameters that you can put around that kind of an art form. So with that being said, I really want to practice doing a whole bunch of samples and samplers. I have a ton of embroidery floss, both that I have purchased and also that I've inherited from my mother, who used to be very much into smocking. And so I think I have a good basis, and I have tons of cotton and linen scraps that I could use. Another use for scraps. That I could use to just practice samplers. I also really love the idea of having my daughter draw out something that I could then take a picture of and try and recreate onto fabric. But how am I going to make this wearable, you may ask? So I'm going to list a whole bunch of very inspiring pictures. And I'm not really sure quite yet what pattern I'm going to use, but it's going to be a jacket of some sort. So first off, I pinned this jacket here. That's a camo jacket with this beautiful floral embroidery on the back. I love the juxtaposition in this with the very masculine camo style utility jacket with the beautiful floral embroidery. I mean, that's some intense embroidery on the back of that jacket, but I just think it is absolutely gorgeous. For jacket number 2, you have this beautiful denim jacket. I don't think I'll be doing anything on denim. That just sounds like it would tear your fingers up. But maybe not. But I'm thinking more along the lines of a linen or a cotton is probably as thick as I want to go, like a cotton twill, not a denim. But I do love the way that the design just kind of comes down a little bit from the shoulder. It's a little more simplistic, and I think you can still stay pretty classic without, make it more wearable for long term. I just think that that's really beautiful. The third picture here, this jacket where it's on the back, same idea. I also think that's really cool where it kind of trails along the back. I think you could have a lot of fun on the back of a yoke to do it that way if you wanted to, which you could do. You could do a denim style jacket, but just use maybe a little bit thinner fabric, like a heavy duty linen, for instance, that might be a little easier on the fingers as you are playing around. And then finally, this jacket here. Now this is way above my pay grade, but I just thought this is gorgeous. This is actually a velvet jacket where they've done all sorts of embroidery. I mean, you could get very, very fancy and go with like silk if you wanted, the silk floss, on a velvet. Whew, that would be definitely a more advanced project than what I'll be looking at doing now. But as inspiration, oh man, I just think that jacket with all the trims and stuff is just absolutely gorgeous. Another thing that Danielle says in this class is, using a whole bunch of different types of mediums. So not just fabric necessarily, but really anything with holes, plastic mesh. She did this thing on a tennis racket that was gorgeous. And you don't have to stick with just floss. You can use wool, for crewel work and that kind of thing, real thin wool. She even says like plastic twine, I mean, that kind of stuff. Like you could definitely, sky's the limit on that if you want to go really creative and really kind of dig into different mediums on that. So that is project number 1 that I really want to work on. Now this one will probably start off much slower because I do want to get a real firm idea of design and really practice my embroidery before I actually do it on something that will become a garment. My idea is I don't want to do I'll probably end up doing something that's much more minimal and not all over embroidery. That could take me forever. I do love a slow project, but I do also have to be cautious of my time. Okay, so moving on to slow project number 2 that I would like to work on. I have been wanting to do another Jessica blazer for myself for ages, and it came up in my plans videos quite a few times, but I really want to hone it down. I already have the fabric, but I want a orange linen blazer. I have the it's a Jessica blazer that I'm going to be making. I already have the pattern for this one, and I actually purchased one of her kits. I've purchased a couple of those. I made one the one I made for my mother was with one of the kits that I used, which is all the interfacing and stay tapes and stuff that's included. It's just nice to have all of your stuff into one package, I find. But, and then there's obviously some leftovers on that as well. But I really, 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 really want an orange linen blazer. I already have the fabric. You guys have seen it a couple of times. But I have some inspiration here. I mean, I'm just obsessed with orange, but I'm obsessed with just a bold statement blazer. I think this could very easily be worn in the fall as well as the spring. Maybe not the winter so much, but maybe, you know, with a turtleneck and that kind of thing. I think orange is a year-round color that can very easily be worn. It's one of my best bold colors that I should be wearing, so that's also a big plus. Hopefully I'm showing you some examples here. I've got four pictures to show you. One I think is the same picture, just two different views. But my all-time favorite, Christy Russell, has a beautiful picture of her in her orange blazer with the blue top. I love orange and cobalt blue together. I think that's just gorgeous. And those are definitely colors that I can pull off. Now, I don't want to, even though this is speed tailoring that this pattern uses, I do want to take my time with it. I already know the pattern fits me. I've made this pattern before, so I will save time in fitting, but I just want to really take my time with doing a lot of hand basting and hand stitches, and I'm not going to do pad stitching. I will stick to the speed tailoring in terms of that, but I just really want to take my time with this so that I can get the very, very, very best end result at the end of the day. So that is slow sewing project number 2. And probably of the 3, it's one that's a little more, a little quicker, a little more easier to get done maybe, just because I've done it before. But yeah, okay, number 3. The classic French tweed jacket. Now, I started off at the beginning of the year wanting to go through, oh gosh, it is Sarah Gunn and Julie Starr's book, their classic, it's an inspiration book, but classic sewing, I believe, is what the title of that book is. I'll pop a picture of the book here. I kind of got away from that a little bit, only because COVID and the Great Module Sew Along hit and all of that, but I would like to come back to that, and one of the items that's in that book, and one that I've been wanting to make forever, is the classic tweed quilted jacket, aka the Chanel jacket. I have one cut out that's been fitted and for years, like for a couple of years, and it's up in a bucket, and I'm staring at it up there right now. All the pieces are cut out. It's ready to be done. And I may even have some stuff basted already. I had done it through the class, the tweed jacket class on Blueprint actually, which is going away. I need to figure that out. But I do have all the pieces ready to go, and it's this Vogue pattern. I can't remember the number of it. I'll pop a picture of the pattern here that will be linked down below. But I really, really, really want to take the time and invest in doing a for real tweed jacket. In worst case scenario, I could also definitely buy Susan Calgi's class. It is definitely an investment price, but something that I think would be just very helpful, especially if you enjoy doing that kind of stuff. I don't want to sew that way all the time, but I think doing some couture stuff on occasion is a very refreshing and just a creative boost, really. You know, to take time to slow down and to really enjoy the process. Those are the projects that are almost more about the process than they are about the end result, although the end result's also lovely. But I have some beautiful ways of, more modern ways of wearing the classic tweed jacket. The fabric that I have is kind of a white with some, gray blue kind of in it. But I love the idea, which isn't technically in my color palette, but I love the idea of pairing those. They're a little too pastel, but of pairing those with the bright orange. I think that could be wonderful. And this picture of this gal with the bright orange purse sings to me. I love this so much. I could definitely see myself recreating that. Also, this gal here, just very casually with jeans, a button-down shirt, and you've got your tweed jacket. I think that's such a wearable way to pair the tweed jacket and to not make it look so mumsy, basically, but to really up the style factor. And then finally I have this picture here. Now this is really more, actually it's more probably than a quilted embroidered type jacket, a little bit more print and stuff going on. But what I really loved about this image was the fact that she's just got white underneath it and how clean that is. And then the jacket really does sing. And this could also actually go back towards the embroidered jacket I want to do as well, where you really have the statement jacket that is the piece that you want to show off. And so dressing very monochromatically and cleanly underneath so that everyone can really appreciate the piece of work, artwork basically that you're wearing. So there you have it, guys. That is 3 plenty plans, I guess, basically 3 different things that I would really like to work on over the course of the next year. Again, I don't know that in the next 6 months is realistic, and I really don't want to put a time limit on myself for these, because the whole point of these projects is to really enjoy the process. So, you know, just like with my knitting, I'm a very slow knitter. Not really. Actually, when I sit down and knit, I'm a fast knitter. However, I set it down on occasion and then I don't pick it up for weeks at a time, mostly because I just want to be in the mood and I want to be inspired. And that's what makes knitting a fantastic hobby, is that I don't feel the need to be productive. You know, I can very much take my time. And that's kind of what I want these sewing projects to be, something more hobby related and less, I mean, everything that I do sewing related and craft related all goes back to the channel, because that's, you know, the beauty of what I get to do for a living. But, you know, less about, oh, I have to get this done for a video, I have to get this done for a video, and more just about enjoying the whole process, especially since things have changed so much since the stay-at-home orders have been done. We're just spending more time at home, period. Definitely spending more time in a car as opposed to an airplane when we do travel. And I think that that's a fantastic way. If there's one thing about the stay-at-home orders that has really been a positive, it's the lesson that I've learned on the importance of slowing down and taking every day for what it is and really appreciating that. And this kind of handiwork goes right back to that. So I'm very excited of just slowing down, not completely. I'll still be making a lot of garments. I'm right in the middle of activewear right now, and I'm churning out quite a bit of activewear. But to have these projects on the back burner where I can definitely put on the brakes a little bit and then really dig into them. So I will definitely be starting on the embroidery project here soon. I have a link to the class down below, and actually an affiliate link for that class down below. For a subscription, you do need a subscription to Skillshare in order to watch that. And I believe you can do a whole bunch of different trials if you want. If you want to just try things out first to see if that's something that you want to do, I think that that's still going on. But I do have a link to the class below, and that is affiliate for the subscriptions if you are interested in doing that. Again, Skillshare has a million, I mean, not a million, that's an exaggeration, thousands of classes that really cover the gamut of all sorts of creative endeavors. And yeah, just a great way to expand your creativity and slow down a little bit. So that's it for today, guys. I hope you have enjoyed this one. I will see you again. I'm not sure what I'm going to be doing on. I think Friday might be a Sew the Look video finally. My stuff is arriving. As I'm filming this, my stuff is arriving tomorrow in order to finish a few of those projects, notions basically, that I was waiting on. So I'm really hopeful that Friday is going to be a Sew the Look video, because the challenge that Lisa Kish and Whitney are doing, it was extended to July 7th, which is a good news for me, because obviously you're watching this, it's the last day of June. So I'm really hopeful to get one, if not a couple of those done, and I will be showing you those as I finish them. Okay, that's it for today. I hope you guys enjoyed this one, and I will see you next time. Have a good one. Bye.